Ladies and gentlemen.
Guess who's back at it again with the flipper? That's right, Hillbilly W.O.P. Hey guys, what do we got today? What do we got in store? Fun times to make some money, right? Let's take a look. Alrighty, what do we got here? Well, you can't tell, the hood's not down, but it's a 2000 Lexus RX300. These were, gosh, so popular. Still see them on the road so much. They were Lexus's first take at the small SUV. Still trucking strong with the RX label and brand. This was the first one. Back to, say, by the 90s and the 90s channel, being a 2000 model, this was the beginning of the end of sedans and how SUVs started becoming so popular. But we got a flipper. Like I said, a little bit of the history that I know about it is we got to change an oil pressure switch. A lot of little tiny cosmetic things. We're gonna get into, cleaning the car up and doing some painting actually on this video. See how we fare on that, and really just shine this thing up, make it back to its glory days a little bit, and let somebody drive it. Got some cool features. We can go over those in the interior a little later when we get to cleaning. But right now I'm trying to get down in there to my oil pressure switch, which is in between those belts, and see if we can get it off and go down to the auto parts store and get ourselves a new one. Well, oil pressure switch, yeah, that's easy. Hat got thrown, curse words got thrown around. Man, it was not an easy thing to get to. So, let me tell you how I did it, and maybe it'll help you out next time if you're doing this on a Lexus oil pressure switch. Here we go. Get your bottom down under here and get your panels off. And I already put this other panel back on here, but if you loosen that panel there, you can get to it a lot easier. You can't see crap under there, but anyways, I mean, geez, it's in between that belt there, and it's hooked back up. You can see the wire going to it right there. Oh my goodness. Anyways, yeah, went to the auto zone, get in the zone type of deal, and got some stuff here. Got some paint and some good stuff, and we got that part. There's the box over there, so that's in there. Now we're gonna do an oil change. Good times. Where are we at? Well, we got the oil change done. Now, you Hercules men or whoever the heck's putting on these oil filters really tight, man, you gotta stop. Serious business. Oil changes should not take long unless you get an oil filter that just doesn't want to come off. Just hand tighten them. Don't really need to be Hercules in them on. So, what are we doing now? Hey, we're cleaning out our mass airflow sensor and putting together some things. I found that were disconnected on the airbox here, and we filled up the oil. We've put in the oil pressure switch, and now we are going to flush out a little bit of the power steering fluid, take some out of that least reservoir, put some fresh stuff in there, and yeah, then take a little test drive, I guess, in a little bit here and see how all that stuff worked out. So a successful day one. We got the mass airflow sensor cleaned and did an oil change, did a little other things like the oil pressure switch and also the power steering fluid. Day two, here we are. Sure enough, took a test drive after putting in the oil pressure switch and didn't fix it. yeah, now I gotta drop the oil pan, clean out the pickup tube. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, but for today, since it's such a nice day, and always seems to be a nice day when I want to do these things, we're gonna try to paint that bumper there. Gray one. See what happens. So what do we gotta do? Clean it off. Sand her down. Tape it up. Spray it. New bumper. Ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how it goes. Well, how's it going, you may ask? It's coming along. It's hot as could be out here and it's humid, which is not good for paint, nor good for trying to stick tape to stuff. Apparently, you know. But still the same old stuff, still got a hole in my sock and still trying to keep this thing going. So let's keep on rocking. You may have noticed before my camera rudely shut off on me that I started on the hood of the car. And buddy, shut up. You know the deal, right? Here we are, though. We decided, because I thought, well, I'm masking all this off, it would probably be easier to do that and then go the other way. So, hence why we did the hood. Now we're going to finally paint the bumper, then we can clear coat it all. Sound like a plan? I think so. Yo, I didn't close off yesterday because I worked pretty late into the night. Phone died, stuff like that. Got the painting halfway done because you don't paint late at night. You know, you don't really see what's going on. Apparently, you need to see with the sun and stuff. So it didn't come out the best. We're just going to touch it up, sand a little bit of it down, and put another coat on it. And then finally seal it off and be done with this front end painting job. While we're waiting for the hood to dry for the 58,000th time, decided to take on maybe a little bit of the interior that has a little bit of a cat urine smell, which is not the scent you want when you're driving. So we're gonna do what we did on the last video. We got our scrubber and some tough stuff. We're gonna get into that carpet and see if we can get that stank out of here. You can see that tough stuff is foamy and it starts to eat some of the dirt up. And then once I agitate it here with my brush, it won't be so happy and it will move out of place and we'll vacuum it all out. And you can see right away a difference. Yeah, that looks way better than over there. So let's do the other side and I guess get some more of this interior done while we're waiting for the paint to dry. Train come rolling on through, train keep rolling. Hey, we're getting this back seat cleaned up, rear end cleaned up. Gonna throw in our Motor Trend heavy duty mats. Let's see how they look. So where we at? Well, I gotta wrap it up for the day. Gotta go see the kiddos, have some fun with them. But this back seat, wow, looks really nice. Got to trim up the floor mats a little bit, but geez, look at that. Looks so much better back here. You guys tell me about the hood here. I know that I got to wax it. I think once I wax it, it'll be all right. Something I noticed, I guess, after painting is that I'm a little bit colorblind or maybe tone blind, and I didn't realize it. I thought the clear coat would really make the bumper darker, but as I can now tell, that is a different shade along the bottom there. Oh well, hey, looks better than it did, and you know, we got to get to the big job. I just really have been, I guess, a little procrastinating, but that's why it's moved over here now. If you notice, it's in a different spot. It's ready to go for the big job, which is dropping the oil pan and cleaning that son of a gun up. Then it's really just some more little things, fixing some speakers, and that's about really it after that. I mean, then it's going to be ready to go, and I got to buff it up a little bit and do some more detailing on the inside, but it's really coming along. All right, another day. Goodness gracious. This is the day we're going to take it on. Oil pan. So, first and foremost, talked to a few people, and they said, hey, maybe you should do a little seafoam through the oil beforehand, try to get some of the gunk out, put it into the oil pan. So that's what we're gonna do this morning, because then I gotta go run to the store. That'll give it some time to cool off so I can get to the oil pan here a little later. It's finally not raining, so that's another good thing. So yeah, we're gonna take this on today, and wish me luck, and hopefully it goes pretty good so we can get this thing a new home. Flow, baby, flow. We're dumping the oil we just put in this, which is a lot of fun. Ah, man. But we're gonna take off this oil pan here, like I said, finally. 10 bolts from what I hear, and a couple nuts that are holding it in there of different size. We're looking at 10 millimeter and 12 millimeter, and then we'll knock this thing off, and then we'll really get to see what's inside there, and if we got a sludge problem. So just let her drain. All right, got it out. So yeah, it's all 10 millimeter. I don't know why somebody said there was a 12 millimeter, but you get the oil pan out, you just use a bunch of 10 millimeters. There's, what was it, 12 bolts and 2 nuts, I believe. And they're in my pan right now, which I'm going to soak this oil pickup tube. I am not sure what that is in there, a snail. But I'm going to guess that's the problem. I mean, that looks pretty gunked up, so we're going to clean it up. Do see a little few sparklies. I don't know if we're going for gold, but we got something in our oil there. Clean up the pan. Put it all back together. They didn't use gasket, so got a lot of RTV to get off here, which is, you know, man, fun. All right, let's get her all cleaned up, like I said, and all I'm really going to do here with these, take out my tools. So I bought this handy dandy pan today. Oh, dig on that line. I'll start soaking this son of a gun. Pour some down it. Maybe throw some compressed air through it. I mean, we just killed a bug there. Oh God, you're not supposed to be in gasoline. Hello. But yeah, see if we can get this cleaned up a little bit. Put her all back together, and we'll see how dirty this gasoline gets. Which I'm guessing is going to get pretty dirty. Holy cow, what is in there? I don't know if y'all can see that, but There's some gunk in there. You know what that is? That's these morons that used RTV that's got some, they put it around the edge too much. I can see it already here. And some of that RTV it got stuck in there. Man, I'll tell you. All right, well, let's clean it up. Well, where are we at? Well, hats off, you know. That means work's getting done. We got OTO and PTO. Wait a minute. OPO. Yeah, something like that. Oil pan off and oil pickup tube off. So those are done. Cleaning them up. Remember I told you and I showed you. Well, that was RTV, and gosh, that looks pretty nasty, if you ask me, compared to the gas when it started. So, yes, we're gonna let her soak a little bit longer as we clean up the gasket underneath, but our oil pan's pretty cleaned up. It's got a little water in it right now. I've cleaned up the inside and go around, make sure I got all gasket stuff off, because it's just gasket city on here. And that's why we had a clogged pickup tube. All right, so got to get underneath this son of a gun, and I'll get under there and show you what we're looking at and what we're gonna pull, what we're gonna clean up. I guess we got to clean up some stuff before we put anything back together. Here we go. Alrighty, the belly of the beast. Yeah. Little cruds up there, you know. Really just got to get the gasket seal off, and this engine probably sat for a little bit because it doesn't look like it's the cleanest up there. A lot of that could be from just sitting, but yeah, we got to get this gasket off. The pickup tube, you can see there where it went, and then it's just got a brace that goes up in there. Again, those were 10 millimeters. And we'll go over some torque stuff, I guess, when we get it all put back together. So let's get to cleaning this bad boy up. Well, remember the pickup tube? Yeah, look at the difference. Let's get out in the sun here. There's no more snails or RTVs stuck up in the inside anymore. We can actually see into the tube. Man, that's gonna be a big difference for oil. All right, so we got the underbelly of the beast cleaned up. Let's see if we can see it under here. It's pretty clean, nice. We got to make sure everything's clean. There's a little gasket that came off this pickup tube. I got to go get it inside and put the nuts and bolts back in. Apparently, the spec is 69 inch-pounds. It is not foot-pounds. So let's get these things in. All right, so we got the oil pan over here ready to put our gasket on. The person that did this before used only RTV and a lot of it. We are not going to do that. We are going to use some RTV that came with our kit, and we're going to put it in these grooves, and we're going to spread it around very nicely, and then we're going to put our gasket on it and stick a couple of these bolts in there to hold it into place. Let it tack up and dry a little bit, and then we'll go to put it on, and we'll also put a little bit of this on top of the gasket as well. So when it goes to sit up there, everything is there. Well, it's done. I don't know. We'll see how it happens. Got her on there. Definitely got all that junk that was out of there. So, you know, I guess even if it leaks a little, the oil pan is better than what it was doing. Anyways. Hey, I had to change the bulb back here. If you ever wanted to do that, it's pretty easy. Just take this little panel out and pop that little sucker out. It's pretty easy to do. We got some other things to finish up kind of today. We're going to try to get some of the front interior done and maybe even dye the seats a little bit, because we're waiting for our RTV to 100% seal, and that takes about 24 hours. So we're not going to put any oil in there or do anything. We're just going to let her sit and dry overnight, and then we'll test all that stuff out tomorrow. Hey, welcome back to later in the day. Still on the flip. Woo! Lexus. Hey. So, we let our RTV dry and took it for a ride, and we seem to have no leaks. We also seem to have no pressure light coming on. The car runs a lot better, and I have to say it had to have been all that RTV that got in there. I tried to dye some seats, and I don't know this stuff, man. It's not coming out great. But we got to clean up the front seats because we did the back seats, put in the mats, and wait on parts for the interior stuff. And then she's basically ready to go. I mean, clean her up, buff her up, and go. So I'm going to get the cleaning on the inside and get that done. So it's another thing ticked off the list. Well, where are we at? End of Sunday. Thank God the oil light's not coming on anymore. Like I said, just took it on another test drive. It seems to be doing good. I mean, it runs really good now, and I think we got the problem fixed. We don't have an oil leak. The hood didn't come out the best, like I said, but you know, it looks okay. Waxed her up. Cleaned up the front seats, put in the floor mats. Now that seat right there, I don't know what I'm gonna do with yet, but geez, that dye stuff did not dye it right. I don't know what the hell it was doing, but maybe we just throw a seat cover on it and call it a day. But looks pretty clean inside, drives really good. Calling it a day on this Sunday. Wait on our little parts, speakers and stuff to put on the inside, and then she's ready to go. So, all right, let's keep on going. Once we get the speakers in, we'll put them in, and then we'll, like I said, be ready to sell it. In the cleaned up Lexus, waiting on a part here, should be here soon. So I'm removing this tweeter here, replacing it with another tweeter that stock one, but it's just, this one's blown. How I got it out there was just kind of got a little screwdriver under there and pop, 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 and do the other side here, and then I got to take the connector off, and we'll wait on getting it. Now that I got this popped out and unplugged there, there's two little screws that I got to take out, and then like I said, we'll wait on the actual tweeter to come and put it in. Well, waited a long time, but we got the new tweeter. I would show you how it works, but you know, copyright and stuff. But yeah, it was just two screws and pulling out that little piece that it was on, putting it back in there, and it sounds a lot better. So, waiting on the door speakers now, and just, what else? Just a seat cover, I think. And then that's really it. And it's ready to sell. And we'll wrap it up and see what we made. So, hopefully, final day. Got to get these speakers in the doors, so let's look at what we got to do here to get them out. So we got to start off with these little push things. We're going to push these little doodads in, and I'm going to pop them out. And then there's going to be a few screws and some points where we're going to have to pop off some pieces. And we'll take the door off and see when our speakers come, and fix those up, and maybe put the plate for the speaker over there since we're missing one on that side. So let's get started on taking this door apart and getting it ready to go. So we got the door panel off. Like I said, it wasn't really that hard. Just a couple clips at the bottom, those little push-in pins, some screws, and you know, being careful is really the main key with anything to do with doors and panels. We didn't break anything, thank God, knock on wood. Yeah, you can see these speakers that I was talking about in the front here. I don't think they're, yeah, that's not even doing anything anymore. So I guess it'll sound a lot better in here once we put those Kenwoods in. These look like they've not stood the test of time like the rest of the stuff on the car. So, still waiting on the speakers, like always, waiting on eBay parts, but should be here soon. So on to the passenger side, which started this whole thing, and that was a big eyesore right there. Like I said, hopefully we're going to be able to put one of the speaker covers, or the speaker covers on both sides, make it look natural, but make it look good. So take this one off. Now, let's see what we got. Parts. Got CDs lying up around because I'm making a mess here. That's good. Parts. Speakers, go boom booms. Alright, we got our harnesses, got our connectors, and we got our Kenwoods. So we got to put this onto our speaker harness mounts here, and this is going to connect our electricity. And yeah, hopefully it works. See if these connectors are correct. If not, then we're really in trouble. Looks like it's the right deal. That'll work perfect. Awesome sauce. All right, let's get them together. Throw this bad boy back together. Well, finishing up the speakers, ended up being not as straightforward, just like anything else that you're kind of manufacturing or making on your own. So what I ended up having to do is run the speaker wire and then put the panel from the door onto the door, and then run the speaker in the inside when the panel was on. And then I really had some fun trying to figure out how to put the actual speaker covers onto the door, because the screws that you get with the kit were not long enough, so obviously they weren't going to hold it. So I had to go down to Aces Hardware and go ahead and grab some new screws down there. But finally, when it all came together, it looked pretty darn good. So what were some of the interesting things about the RX300? Yes, it was a small SUV. Yes, they were getting popular, in the early 2000s, and this was classified as a truck, which is kind of interesting, and I noticed that. But here in the interior, this is not a truck. Obviously very luxurious. It reminds me a lot of the Toyotas of that era and time. One of the cool things that Toyota did as we enter into the vehicle is they had this backlit lighting for their dash, and it pops up like that. And I always thought that was really cool, that it was dark and then all of a sudden you got all the light and everything on there. And it's a hot day here, so the auto AC, which works really good, kicked on. But this was like an infotainment system, I guess, back in the day. It didn't really give you a whole lot up here. You got just some basic information here. I don't remember, but yeah, somewhere around here. I think you can change that. Here we go. Look at this. Info. There we go. Which is interesting. That was about all you could do. Did control when you had the AC on, so you had those controls there. And then if you turn the stereo on, it's down at the bottom. So that was like a screen that didn't do a whole lot, but it gave you information up there. And overall, like I said, if you've ever been in a new Camry or Avalon in the 90s. This is what it was like inside here. They did give you a nice moonroof, sunroof, whatever you want to call it in here. And like I said, being the top of the line Lexus, you got, you know, some wood grain features. The heated seats work really nice in here. Upgraded audio system. Yeah. So that was the inside of the Lexus RX300. Hey everybody. So today, took me a whole week. Yeah, a week exactly today is when I put this bad boy Lexus on Marketplace. I had to drop her down some, you know, originally had it at 38, had to bring it down. Ended up selling it right under $3,000, $29995. Slashing prices down here at Hillbilly W.O.P. But it's going over to a good guy, actually, Mr. Rook. He's a YouTuber himself, and we'll put a little link here for you to check out his channel. It's going to his son, and it's going to be a great car for him. This little Lexus is really great. I mean, it drives nice, and I hope he enjoys it and gets to put it to some good use, you know. He's a senior in high school, and you get to drive that to school and maybe even college. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe. We're gonna go over all the stuff. Let's look at some before and after photos from the original ad that was on Facebook to what it looks like now. And wow, what a difference. And what a difference mechanically as well, with doing that oil pan pickup tube job, making it run so much better.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go over what we spent and what we made on this flip. You can see what we spent on the Lexus over parts and little doodads and all that, and we'll round that up to say $1,500 spent on the Lexus RX300. Now we ended up selling it for $3,000, and we made a profit of $1,500. Not too bad for this wonderful Lexus RX300.